Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1055, The New Era. Normally we have, some kind of art, like whether it's colored or if it's just something special or if it's, what are they called? Cover story. If it's the continuation of a cover story. But it seems like for this and potentially the next two chapters, I believe, we're going to actually get a bit of the backstory of Uta's song for the upcoming film One Piece Red, which is going to be premiering in Japan very soon. So it's just how she came up with the song that she'll be singing in the main story. Unfortunately, for some reason, the official release, the Viz manga, they don't release that. So if you are reading exclusively on the official release from Viz Manga, I would recommend looking up some scanlation that happened somewhere on the internet so that you at least have a little bit of that backstory if you plan on going to see the movie, which I am. But without further ado, let's get into the actual chapter itself that picks up right where we left off. Momonosuke getting wrung like a towel by Green Bull as the rest of the scabbards futilely try to fight him off. Fortunately, Raizo actually has the right idea. It's a giant forest. He'll use the scroll jutsu and launch some fire at it. And unfortunately, Green Bull sort of just. I'm going to assume it's hockey that he covers the plants in, but he calls the technique fireproof forest. And then he just jabs into Raizo and starts sucking all the life energy out of him. And he goes, "Do you really think I would have become an admiral if I didn't do something about such a glaring weakness?" Honestly, yeah, that's actually not something we've seen in Logia users. We've had magma punching through Ace's fire. We've had water solidifying Crocodile. So we've had rubber stopping Eneru's lightning. So typically, when it comes to a Logia user, we don't think of them, you know, we don't think of them without their elemental weakness. So to have someone with the Woods fruit, like Green Bull, just brush off an obvious weakness to fire is pretty impressive. I'm not exactly sure how he fireproofs it. Maybe the anime will show that off a little better. I think it's hockey coating, but it's not like all the plants turned black with armament. So whatever the reason, Yamato decides, okay, now is the time to step in, and Momo tells her, no, I forbid you, please don't swing a single strike at this guy, aside from your entering strike that you did earlier. We'll get back to that actually in this chapter, but for now, we're going to cut down to the bottom of Wano, where Sukiyake is taking Robin and now Trafalgar Law downstairs. Robin actually points out, she says, "Oh, Law, you did an interesting job tracking us down." And he goes, "It really wasn't that hard. You were just the only two that weren't hanging out at the party." So, as they're going down deeper and deeper down the stairs, he's given them the history of Wano and how 800 years ago, Wano was a kind of a different place, and we stored the road poneglyph down here to keep it safe. Unfortunately for us, Kaido had a fishman on his crew, Jack, so Jack was able to find it. And Robin goes, "Well, what does being a fishman have to do with we're underground?" And he goes, "You'll see in a second. There's a there's a window in the staircase that light is shining in from." And he says, "Go ahead, crawl up that crawl space. At the end of it is a glass block." And Robin crawls all the way up there, and then Law just sort of pops up next to her, and it's actually cute. Robin goes, "Hey, no fair," which, I don't know, it's funny to see Robin say something not serious and not grim. So I don't know, I thought it was cute. But anyways, what's more important is the two of them look out the window in utter shock to see what looks like Wano, but underwater. And Robin points out that the perfect preservation assumes that this is not seawater that they are looking at. This is rainwater. This is, for the most part, fresh water. Sukiyake then goes on to tell them that 800 years ago, walls were erected around the island of Wano, and the people of Wano moved to the top of the mountain. If any of you ever played The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, it's kind of like the flooded Hyrule thing. Apparently, by destroying those walls, you will do what is necessary to release the ancient weapon Pluton. And the act of opening Wano's borders is in fact a real term, not just a figurative, open up the borders and let people out and let people in. He means literally open up the borders of Wano. Now, obviously, having read about the ancient weapons and knowing what kind of danger they can do, Robin then asks, hey, why would Odin want to open up the borders then? To which Sukiyake responds, I don't know. I've never left Wano. Something Odin saw out there when he came back to Wano caused him to decide that Wano's borders need to be opened. I wonder if it's because the Pluton needs to be unleashed, or if it's because those who can protect the world using the Pluton need to come to Wano. Whatever the reason, Odin wanted it open, and now that it's up to Momo, who currently wants it to remain closed, it's going to be a while before we see the Pluton, unless someone else gets a hold of it. So as Sukiyake is explaining that the road Poneglyph is all the way underneath Wano, even deeper down is where the Pluton is located. So, deeper down than where Robin and Law are. Do you know who else is currently deeper down from where Robin and Law are? Big Mom and Kaido, who, like I said a few chapters ago, if Kaido wasn't immune to lava, don't you think on his little suicide quest he would have tried lava bath? Like he would have tried just hopping into lava? So I'm going to guess, even if Big Mom does turn out dead, Kaido did not die in lava. That didn't do him in. Which means Kaido could be closer to Pluton than anyone right now. We know that Pluton is potentially a boat, so I don't know if Kaido will be able to use it to its full potential, but Kaido's a pretty smart dude. Kaido could at least figure out how to press the button and make the cannon work. So now we're met with a couple problems. Sukiyake can still read poneglyphs, which means now there are two people the world government could capture. Speaking of the world government, a Marine Admiral is currently busting his way through Wano to kill Straw Hat Luffy, and anyone who gets in his way, of course. And finally, Pluton is here, potentially in Kaido's hands, potentially in Big Mom's hands, potentially in the world government's hands if things go south during Momo's fight. Cutting back to Momo's fight, though, he finally tells Yamato why she's not allowed to participate in this. Momo tells her, you want to go out to sea, right? And Luffy's going to go out to sea, and Zoro's going to go out to sea, and everyone else is going to leave Wano. How can we, me and my retainers, how can we look you in the eye and say, go ahead, head out to the ocean, go continue your adventure, if Wano isn't safe with us? We need to be able to repel invaders. And Green Bull's preparing his big attack. He's got his tree form and he's got spears ready and he's about to pierce Momo. And that's when Momo finally says, Begone, THOT! And he blasts a hole in the guy. Well, in the giant tree form. And he's bending over, he's reeling over from the pain, and he looks up and he's like, okay, that was a pretty good hit. No, God! And Momo blasts him a second time and blasts him a third time, and you just see this tiny little piece of shrubbery come up, and it grows into him, and it grows back into his normal self, and he's like, okay, that was not cool. That's a lot of power. But not enough to kill him, so he starts up his big tree thing again, and he's going for round 2, and that's when a burst of haki, strong enough to cover Wano, to like, maybe not cover Wano as in like affect everyone, but strong enough that a few people within the Flower Capital were even able to feel its shockwave. Instantly, our big friend Green Bull understands that this haki has to be none other than red-haired Shanks. Meanwhile, on the Red Force, that's the name of Shanks' ship, Shanks is standing there and his crewmates go, oh, hey, boss, you gotta warn us before you blast off the haki like that, because some of the new guys are foaming at the mouth now. And he goes, I'm sorry, I'm a little riled up. I'm not gonna call the Marines, cowards or jerks or, wusses, or any other insults that would obviously be fitting. But don't you think it's bad form to take out these kids after they just changed, pirate history right here? Are you really that afraid of the new era? And Shanks is mad. He's got a very angry look on his face as he's thinking of Luffy as a little kid, and he's thinking of Momonosuke and little Hiyori, and we even see a silhouette, which I think is probably Uta. Because even though I don't think Uta's ever going to show up in the actual manga, you can tell from some of the interviews Oda has that I feel like he really wanted Uta and Shanks and that backstory to be a part of the main story, but there was just no way to organically add it in. So he's kind of just had to have his subtleties with things like this silhouette. However, a giant Kaido-like dragon and the threat of Shanks coming ashore to beat the crap out of him is enough to make Green Bull decide, okay, I can't take on a Yonko, a brand new Yonko, and a pseudo-dragon Yonko all at the same time. I'm out. Peace. Sorry. I'm gone. I really hate that I'm gone, but I'm gone. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Bye. I'm done. I'm Green Bull. Bye. And with that, the enemy is repelled, and Momo shows Yamato that Wano is safe with us. You guys can go out to sea, and everything will be fine. Little does Momo know that just over a hill, Luffy and his 3 commanders, because that's what everybody else is calling them, so why shouldn't I? Luffy and his 3 commanders are watching over them, and Sanji's just like, oh, that's good, we didn't have to step in. And Zoro goes, oh, I'm very impressed, Momo, you're doing pretty good. Jinbei, being the observant one, goes, okay, but seriously, what was that giant burst of haki, though? Like, who did that? And Luffy's like, oh, I could think of someone. Luffy's smiling because Luffy knows Shanks is nearby. And so I don't think we're going to have a Luffy-Shanks interaction. I would really love it if we did, but Luffy and Shanks know that they're near each other, and that seems to be enough for the two of them right now because they are both so close to the top, especially since now Shanks is going after the One Piece. So that was this week's chapter. Pretty short in terms of things that occurred, but pretty heavy in the quality of the things that occurred. We know that Wano is more than just the islands we've seen so far, more than just these grouped together pieces. Wano is actually a pretty high altitude, pretty dangerous place to get into, not so much because of the ocean around it, but because of the lack of ocean, because of the seawater, and this oddly preserved underwater city that, if fishmen ever do decide to move to the surface, underground Wano might actually be the perfect place. Unless, of course, Kaido unleashes the Pluton, or something unleashes it and breaks the borders of Wano. But, as always, that's gonna be a question for the next chapter. We're still in Wano, and I'm pretty sure we aren't going to be set out to sea from here in a couple chapters. I would say maybe 5 chapters at the minimum to get out of here. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero Fulios, Xing out.